We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We are deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. You're back on the air with We Sell Restaurants, the industry leader in restaurants for sale, franchise restaurant resales, and site location for the food service industry. We are franchising nationwide and currently have offices in Florida, Colorado, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia. Interested in learning more about our brand? Visit WeSellRestaurants.com, WeSell restaurants with an S.com. And we are back on the air with great food magazine representatives who are really dishing out some of the scoop on the industry. And I want to tie it back around to this idea about health. Consumers are really trying to, I believe, take responsibility for their health. So, Sharon, let me ask you first, what are some of the major health factors that consumers are prioritizing as they look at what they're actually feeding through their body?
Yes, at today's Dietitian, we did a survey of 500 dietitians for diet and health trends at the beginning of the year, and the dietitians reported that they found even a greater interest in weight loss. So especially this time of year, everybody is interested in this. So that is one factor. And then people are even more interested in making healthful food choices. When they make their food choices in the supermarkets or restaurants, are looking at health. Although at the same time, they still report convenience, taste. Taste is still king. And quality are important factors as well. So, it's still, those are key characteristics they're looking for when they make food choices. But there are a lot of health concerns that are weighing on people's minds, things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, ways to prevent this through their eating style. So we still see this. And dietitians are pretty much recommending, in our survey, 84% of the dietitians are recommending eating nutrient-rich, balanced diet as a healthful, sustainable approach.
Yeah, I don't know how many of us we strive for that, but I don't know how much we actually make it through the closing table with that kind of an idea. Eric, you had a question or two, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you just talk about, health conscious, and we, as restaurant brokers, we interact with a lot of restaurant owners and chefs around the country. And one of the things, when they try to introduce more healthy dishes and everything, people says, and the consumer says, it's kind of bland or it's not tasting good. So, what about flavors? And I mean, we got to start, making healthy food that are, spice things up, make it more flavorful. So, what are some of the trends that you can see to make that happen here? Janet, right?
Yeah, I agree, because sometimes, health maybe it seems to backfire if you say, oh, okay, this has a heart-healthy thing on the menu, if that doesn't appeal to someone, because you got to lead with taste. You just, health and taste can happily coexist, and it should. So the charge is to make those healthy foods taste good. And I think one of the big flavor trends that I see going on is more global. Stronger flavors inspired from around the world, za'atar from the Middle East, shawarma spice blends, I think are very popular. But I think people want a stronger flavor. Sour has emerged as a big flavor trend. People don't want things as sweet. So that's why fermentation right now is a big trend, because of a stronger sour type flavor. So I think we're embracing that, particularly millennials, embracing a bolder, stronger flavor.
Interesting.
We're seeing that too. The sour thing is definitely a thing with our readers. You know, that it seems like, and also I've noticed in Rachel's recipes, she's been doing one thing kind of on the sour end of the spectrum, but she's doing a lot of caramelizing of lemons. So she'll thinly slice lemons and then put them on a sheet pan with other things, and they get nice and brown around the edges. So they're sour, but they have that kind of roundness to them, and it kind of turns them into a different kind of citrus than you're used to. Not just like, you know, squeezing lemon on fish or something. You know, it has a little, and you know, you're not adding any, you know, fat or calories. You're just, there's something, and I think that's another thing I'm noticing is this kind of high heat thing that we kind of touched on before. You know, when you're roasting cauliflower or what have you, you know, that brings a ton of flavor without, you know, any cost to, you know, the nutritional value of the food that you're eating. You're not adding, you know, salt or calories or fat or what have you. So I think that's something that we're noticing. And along with the sour sumac, but it's kind of, you know, in the za'atar family, so I think that kind of Middle Eastern thing.
Yeah.
And we're also seeing a lot of kind of global comfort food. So shawarma was one thing that I just heard that I would totally agree with. Ramen, dim sum, shakshuka, you know, the baked egg and spicy tomato dish, you know, that kind of thing. We're seeing a lot of that.
So I think that's how we have to sell healthier foods, is romance a little bit. Not that these are the healthy ones over here in this section. You know, it's just, by the way, you know, it's all great ingredients and good for you, but we've got to lead with a great flavor and all the other aspects of the dish rather than making this, okay, these are the healthy entrees.
So
right.
I want to.
Otherwise, it seems kind of like a bummer, right? You're like, oh man.
And I think also even the home chef or home cook, and I believe many of them do believe that they're home chefs because they are obsessed with Pinterest and Instagram and all the different ways that they're experimenting. They're really equipping their kitchen in ways that we've never seen before. So, Nina, do you have some thoughts on a piece of kitchen equipment you're hearing about from your readers that you're probably not using enough or that's emerging on the scene?
Yeah, the one thing that was kind of interesting in our Jan Feb issue, we have Rachel's recipe. She really utilizes a sheet pan, which is, you know, one of those humble things that's sitting in your cabinet, and you probably most often make cookies with it. But she does 3 one-pan dinners on them, so it's one of them is pork chops with green beans, another one is chicken with Brussels sprouts. We did some sausage with broccoli rabe. It's really an easy thing to do. You just take a protein, you take your favorite veg, you spread them out, make sure they're in a nice thin layer, and then you high heat roasting them, you know, for, you know, not that long. So you can have a quick weekday dinner on a sheet pan. And I think, you know, a lot of people, you know, have that in their kitchen, but they're not utilizing it like they could. So they don't, you know, you don't have to go out and buy a Vitamix to make healthy food at home. You can just utilize things you already have on hand that you're not perhaps using as much as you could.
So, Sharon, do you think that folks are intimidated to try these new flavor profiles and try to cook it up in their own kitchen? Do they want to try it in the restaurant first and see it kind of expand their palate that way before they experiment at home?
I do think that people gain inspiration from restaurants, and one of the things I'm really passionate about is helping people cook because we've lost so many cooking schools and cooking skills in our country. A lot of schools don't teach home economics anymore. So, you know, we have people that have really minimal cooking skills and they need help, like, you know, learning how to make simple versions of these recipes. And, you know, that's what I'm really excited about with Pinterest and blogs that are making this very accessible for people. But you know, it can be very simple, just using some of these seasonings on very easy dishes. But people are definitely embracing these flavors. It's very exciting.
Great. So we have just had a wonderful group on the air today. We have been talking with folks who are really writing, editing, leading the way, and talking about trends in the industry. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon, the Restaurant Brokers. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com. Take a moment, like us on our Facebook page. We're facebook.com/WeSellRestaurants. Follow us on Twitter @SellRestaurants. And, of course, we're on LinkedIn as well. Eric and Robin Gagnon, your industry source and authority for information. We'll be right back after this quick timeout.